Welcome back inside Little Caesars Arena for another edition of the Motor City Faceoff. I'm Genna Rose, as always joined by Jason Ross Jr. Don't get me wrong, we always love being in the studio, but it's a nice change of scenery having LCA in the background. It's currently the midway point for the Detroit Red Wings. So far they are 7-16-4 on the season. They're looking to add their 8th victory in the books, going up against the defending Stanley Cup champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, Jen, as you noted, always so fun being back at the rink here at the LCA. Now, picking up win number 8 is certainly going to be a challenging task for Detroit. Going up against the Tampa Bay team that leads the NHL in points with 38 entering tonight. The Lightning beat the Red Wings on Tuesday night in overtime 4-3 here at Little Caesars Arena. We are going to break down that matchup. In addition to previewing tonight's game between these two sides, we'll also dissect now Red Wings GM Steve Yzerman's formula that he utilized in Tampa Bay to create success that the Lightning are still experiencing today. And speaking of future success for Detroit, in today's Prospect Watch segment, we're going to break down forward Jonatan Berggren, who is tearing it up in the SHL. All that and more coming up on the Motor City Face-Off. Well, as we noted in the open, the Lightning defeated Detroit 4-3 in overtime here on Tuesday. Blake Coleman capped things off with the winner for Tampa Bay in the extra session. Despite not coming away with a victory, Jen, there were still positives to pull from that game for Detroit. Captain Dylan Larkin was pretty pleased with the performance.
Yes, and that's even one of the positives in itself, Jason, that Dylan Larkin returned to the top line. He was previously out for the last 4 games due to an upper body injury. He notched 1 goal to give the Wings the lead in the second period, but already before heading into that matchup last night, the Wings had the advantage. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been on a 6-game road trip, so heading into game number 5 on the road, they came in with their legs tired, whereas the Wings had a 4-day break heading into the matchup. The fans could feel that energy. 750 of those fans were in Little Caesars Arena. But going to the first period, what's exciting is that a point of emphasis for the Wings this season, Jason, has been the production of their power play. And throughout the last 5 games, they have had consecutive power play goals. So Adam Ernie, with the man advantage, was able to find the back of the net off of a feed from Filip Hronek and Filip Zadina. The second period, that middle frame, Jason, was very key for the Wings. They were able to gain back the lead to close out the second period, and head coach Jeff Blashill, he even said that they were the better team during that stint. They were able to create turnovers. They were in the offensive end. So, Jason, if they're able to bring that energy to today and play as the team that they did in the middle frame, there is an opportunity that they can clutch out this win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But again, something that was exciting too, when they got the lead again during the middle frame, they were bouncing back from Tampa Bay Lightning. They had a back-to-back goal in the span of 35 seconds. So as you mentioned earlier, Jason, Blake Coleman was able to cap off the overtime victory for the Lightning.
And gee, as you noted, spending time in the offensive zone is going to be crucial for the Wings today to try to keep Tampa Bay out of their own end as much as humanly possible, because when the Lightning are on the offensive zone, the puck movement is so fluid, and they have 4 lines that can really affect you in different ways. You look at the top unit right now of Andre Palat, Anthony Cirelli, and Braden Point that is performing so well. Then they have their leading goal scorer, Steven Stamkos, on the second line. So playing responsible hockey in your own end is going to be very key for Detroit today as they try to limit this Tampa Bay team that leads the NHL in goals per game at 3.63, and Jen, 87 goals through 24 games so far, which is 3rd in the National Hockey League.
Wow, it definitely is exciting having a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning here at Little Caesars Arena, and it's even more exciting to untangle the web to see those Steve Yzerman ties and see what he can hopefully bring here to Detroit. Coming up. After spending 22 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings, 19 of those as a captain, Steve Yzerman spent some time in the Wings front office before departing to become the general manager for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jason, Yzerman is considered to be a crucial aspect to the success that the franchise has had, and Detroit fans are hoping he can bring that same magic here to the hockey town.
Breaking down some of the ways that he did that in Tampa Bay that could potentially be done here in Detroit. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, G, but I can't wait for today's Prospect Watch segment because we are breaking down a player who was drafted outside of the first round, and that's something Yzerman did so well during his days in Tampa Bay, finding those post-first round gems. You think of Anthony Cirelli, Andre Palat, names such as Braden Point, who we talked about in the previous segment. That's their top line actually right now, and it's the most productive line for the Lightning, and they were all drafted outside of the first round. You think about a player like Yanni Gourde, who's on their second line. He was signed as an undrafted free agent. So the ability to discover those post-first round gems played a key role. And then keeping those players on the roster and on economically sound deals, despite the salary cap era, which can make that particularly difficult, is also something Yzerman has navigated very well. When you think of guys who are at the core of Tampa Bay's success right now, having won the Stanley Cup a year ago, most of them were brought in while Yzerman was there, and then he signed them to either short-term or long-term deals. Names such as Steven Stamkos, Andrei Vasilevsky, Braden Point again is another. So all of those names remaining on the roster is certainly something to admire in its own right. And then you think about when you hit the UFA and RFA periods, most notably Steven Stamkos back in 2016, it was Yzerman who played a key role in keeping him in a Lightning uniform. Relate that to the Red Wings' current situation. Dylan Larkin is signed through 22-23. Anthony Mantha through 24-25. So when players say, I came to Tampa Bay, or I came to Detroit, or I stayed in Detroit because of Steve Yzerman, there is certainly a level of truth there, and hopefully players like Larkin and Mantha will stick around as this rebuild matures into future success, and Yzerman will definitely play a key role in that.
Well, reading this narrative of virtually all Detroit teams struggling, it's incredible to have a legend like Steve Yzerman play such a crucial role back here at Hockey Town. And talking about the future, we're going to move forward with our Prospect Watch segment.
20-year-old Swedish forward Jonatan Berggren steps into the Prospect Watch spotlight this week. You know, Jen, in our first two Prospect Watch segments, we talked about first-round draft picks. Today, we dip out of the first round and talk about a second-round draft pick where Berggren was selected 33rd overall back in 2018. However, that doesn't take any of the excitement off of this week's Prospect Watch segment.
Absolutely. Berggren describes himself as a skilled forward who loves to make plays in the offensive end. Berggren has drawn comparison to Nashville forward Victor Arvidsson. Berggren's 41 points currently leads all SHL players under the age of 21. The 41 points are made up of 11 goals and 30 assists. Only Henrik Zetterberg, Elias Pettersson, and Henrik Sedin had more assists under 21 years of age in the SHL, so he joined some good Swedish company in that regard. We likely won't see Berggren this year, however, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we may see him in 21-22.
And Jen, you can really feel his confidence blossoming offensively, the quote there, and how he describes his game. He's a player who battled injury a year ago. Berggren was limited to 24 games in the 19-20 season. This year, he's already played 45 and has 41 points, as Genna noted, playing at about a point-per-game pace through 45 games in a men's league, which is very impressive. Berggren also said that his confidence is really growing and the game is slowing down for him, which is scary for a player who has as much speed and creativity as he does. So as G noted again, probably won't see him this year, but certainly a player who could be a part of a very bright future in the Motor City.
To close out the show, we do have an update on forward Tyler Bertuzzi. Unfortunately, he's been out for the last 16 games due to an upper body injury. The Wings have been without one of their more skilled players, and even during this absence, Bertuzzi's numbers still rank at the top of the clubs. Head coach Jeff Blashill said that they're not the only team in the division that are without one of their top defenders and leading goal scorers. The only difference is with Detroit is that they don't have the scoring depth that their competitors have.
And hopefully they can find some scoring depth from other sources tonight, because when the Wings have had secondary scoring, it's been a common thread in wins so far this year. We'll see how things shake out between the Lightning and the Wings tonight. As always, a pleasure to bring the show to you here at Little Caesars Arena. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to interact with us on today's episode of the Motor City Faceoff.